Sawadee-kap. Hello and welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. Today is our last mini lesson related to the three universal truths. We're going to be discussing the universal truth of non-self. By understanding this universal truth, the mind can reside more peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy through eliminating the fetter of personal existence view. Thank you for watching. The universal truth of non-self, just like the previous universal truths, are something that you need to learn, reflect on, and practice in order to move the mind closer to enlightenment. The universal truth of non-self provides us the remedy or the solution to eliminate the fetter of personal existence view. The 10 fetters are the 10 individual distinct problems in the unenlightened mind. Gautama Buddha shared these as a way to purify the mind and bring it close to enlightenment and actually attain enlightenment. So the very first fetter is personal existence view. These are taints or pollutions of mind. We're going to be going through all 10 of these in a future mini lesson. But for now, let's just talk about the personal existence view, because once you understand this fetter, it will help you to understand the universal truth of non-self. The universal truth of non-self is something that typically takes somebody more time to understand. The previous two universal truths are things that you can pretty readily understand. But this one usually takes multiple times to learn it in class, to read materials about it, and even talk with a teacher so that you can get some discussion around this universal truth of non-self. The fetter of personal existence view is essentially describing how the unenlightened mind holds on to this personal existence. It thinks that this physical body and this mind is permanent. It falsely believes, mistakenly understands, and has this misperception that this physical body and or this mind is who you are as a person. So there's a certain self-image that an unenlightened being is trying to project in the world. We might try to do our hair a certain way. We might try to have makeup or jewelry. We might spend a lot of time caring for this physical body in a certain way because we're trying to project this certain image in the world. Then when somebody says something agreeable to us related to this self-image, the mind experiences these conditioned pleasant feelings. Happiness, excitement, elation arises in the mind based on the condition of this agreeable compliment that we're hearing. The problem with that is that that is not permanent. It's only a matter of time before somebody says something negative or disagreeable about this self-image. And when the mind hears that, then it experiences painful feelings, this sadness, anger, or frustration, because the mind is trying to project a certain self-image into the world, thinking that this physical body is who you are as a person. And when you hear agreeable things, there's these pleasant feelings that arise in the mind. They're conditioned on hearing agreeable compliments. But since that's not permanent, then the mind moves to these painful feelings when it hears disagreeable or negative comments about this self-image in the physical body. You will always need to care for this physical body. Bathing, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, wearing certain clothes to ensure the body's protected when you go out into the world. That's not the issue here. That's the middle way. The issue that the unenlightened mind has is it has this craving, this desire, this clinging, wanting to project a certain self-image in the world. And this is where the mind gets confused and has this misperception, now experiencing these conditioned pleasant feelings and these conditioned painful feelings. And the same thing happens not only with the self-image, but with the self-identity in the mind. There are certain things that the mind is holding on to in the unenlightened state that you think this is who you are as a person. I am a Buddhist teacher. I am an American citizen. I live in Thailand. I am a man. I am a father. I am kind. I am friendly. Any of these things that are I am, this is the self-identity that's being held onto in the mind. And once again, if the mind hears these agreeable things about Buddhist teachers, American citizens, people living in Thailand, about fathers and things like this, the mind experiences these conditioned pleasant feelings. But it's only a matter of time before this being hears things that are negative or disagreeable about these same things that are in the mind being held onto as self-identity. So now when we hear negative things about our self-identity, then the mind experiences these conditioned painful feelings of anger, frustration, irritation, annoyance, or some kind of sadness or something like this. So there are certain things in your mind that you're holding on to. I am a mother, I am a father, I'm a banker, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I am a kind person, I am a yoga instructor, I'm a massage therapist, I live in Thailand, I live in America, I live in Australia, I live in Japan. There's certain ethnicity, certain culture, certain sexual orientation, all these different things that the mind is holding on to, thinking that this is who you are as a person. But what the universal truth of non-self helps us to understand is that none of these things are you. That's not who you are as a person. There is a physical body that exists, and there is a mind that exists. And these two things come together for this existence. But at death, they're going to separate and no longer rejoin in the same form again. So you ask yourself, is this physical body permanent or impermanent? Is this mind permanent or impermanent? Well, the answer to these questions is they're both impermanent. The body and the mind are both impermanent. Therefore, there can't be a permanent self. There can't be a personal existence view, because as long as there is, the mind is going to be shaken up when it hears agreeable or disagreeable comments related to the self-image or the self-identity. Now remember, it's important to learn, reflect, and practice. The way that you can reflect on this universal truth, understanding that there is no self, is you can take this finger and you can point and say, where is David? Or where is Barbara? Where is John? Where is Susie? Whatever your name is, point to where are you? And most people will point to the physical body, or they will point to the head, which where people typically think the mind is. Well, none of these two things are you, because if you point here, this is just a shirt. We get rid of the shirt. Where is David? If someone points again, that's just skin. We get rid of that. What's left is bones, tissues, fluids. None of those things are David. None of those things are who I am as a person. And this is the problem that the unenlightened mind has, is that we get these names at birth, these labels. This is David. But what really exists is this sack of skin with bones and fluid and tissue inside this big bag of skin. But we can't call this person a big bag of skin and everybody knows who they are, because everybody's a big bag of skin and bones and fluid. So we get these names: David, Susie, Barbara, John, Jeff, Mike. And when we get this name, we start associating a certain self-image and a certain self-identity with this name. And then we adopt that as who we are as a person. And now this label of David is who the mind thinks you are. So now when you hear agreeable things related to this physical body or this self-identity, then the mind has these conditioned pleasant feelings. But when you hear disagreeable things, then the mind has these conditioned painful feelings. So the solution to all this is the universal truth of non-self, is training the mind to disassociate with this physical body or this mind as being who you are. Realize that none of these things are you. You might say, I am American, or I am a lawyer, but the mind has to disassociate with that, understanding that that's not who you are, because those things are impermanent. If we think that I am a lawyer or I am a doctor, well, then when you retire and you're no longer a doctor or a lawyer, the mind is shaken up and it's very difficult to progress in the world, because this identity of being a lawyer or a doctor is being held onto so tightly that people struggle when they retire, for example. But we need to understand that that's not who we are as a person, that we can let those things go. We can still understand that we are a doctor, or we are a dad or a mom, or we do have a certain sexual orientation that we prefer. but those aren't who we are as a person. And by training the mind to let go of this from the mind, continuing to think this is who you are as a permanent self or a personal existence view, then the mind can reside more peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy. And this just takes time to understand what the universal truth of non-self is and this fetter of personal existence view. The more you understand it through watching a video like this, joining for classes that I teach, reading in books, and even having personal discussions with me as a student, you will gradually start to learn more about this universal truth of non-self, start to gradually understand the personal existence view and how to eliminate that from the mind. And as you do, learning and practicing these teachings with gradual training, gradual practice, there's going to be gradual progress as the mind moves closer to this enlightened mental state where it's peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in a future video. Thank you so much. Sawadee krap.